sad day in Baltimore. The Orioles fall 3-1 and 5-4 in a half. What do we call this? A half a head and half? Not quite a doubleheader.
Yeah, half face, two face, half a face. I don't know. You got two heads, you don't have one.
Neck and a face. In a neck and a face, the Orioles fall to the St. Louis Cardinals to be swept for the first time since Adley Rutschman was called up just after the anniversary of Adley Rutschman being called up 2 years ago. 105 consecutive series without being swept. Done. The Cardinals, being the team to do it in, has its own ironies, but also is kind of a sad day, bad day overall. The Orioles cannot get it done in a head and a half, a doubleheader, a half a header, whatever you want to call it, and saw their kind of worst traits come to fruition all at once, both on the offensive side and a little bit defensively. Not they've been terrible defensively, but if there was going to be a way for the streak to end the way it did, which I'm going to pull up here in 1 second, pretty much was it was funny. At least they didn't just go down dead, face down in the mud. They gave it a little bit of a run there. The Cardinals made some plays. The Orioles did some stupid, silly things, and wanted to pull it up here. Exactly what happened. The play that ended the streak by one Lars Nootbaar here, who makes an unbelievable, the funnest way for the streak to end there, but it does. And I know there's a lot of drama here as the MLB continues to just jump in my face there, but a lot of drama around it, things of that nature. But you do ultimately have to tip your hat. And I'm going to say Lars Nootbaar turned the lights out on the Baltimore Orioles there. And the Orioles get swept, man. It's painful. I think that we'll probably overreact a little, including you and I. Probably overreact to this because of the streak itself. I know there's some relief in the streak ending. I know there's some people that are upset about it. It was a fun thing. It was a thing that people maybe made not so fun. But I think personally, the most difficult part was that, again, the situational hitting, the lack of ability to make pitchers get outs as opposed to aggressively swinging, not being able to extend hitters' counts and get walks, get on base, came to a head a little bit in this one. But at the end of the day, Hyde tried to push some buttons there in the top of the ninth with the streak on the line. Austin Hayes gets a hit. Cedric Mullins squeaks one through. And Kyle Stowers blasted that baseball, had an expected batting average of 610 in good old Yankee Stadium. That would have been a home run, 1 out of 30 parks there. And again, Lars Nootbaar, I mean, we can talk about Mullins and getting doubled up and all this stuff. It was a hell of a catch. And you are willing to tip your cap and say, hey, great effort, Nootbaar there on getting it done and winning a game for the Cardinals. And hey, who knows? Maybe this turns the Cardinals season around. Who the heck knows? But the Orioles are struggling right now, Eric.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like. Again, that's the second time I've seen the play on Stowers. Again, I missed all of today. But from the looks of Twitter, it sounds like, you might as well pack up. Like somebody is already like, what a waste of a year, that we get Corbin Burns. And I said, you're right. Why even play the rest of the year? I mean, they're done, they're the first team to ever be eliminated from the playoffs at 29-18. So again, they had a hell of a run this year. It's just, it sounds like it's not in the cards, according to Justin 419, who said he's a frustrated fan of 41 years. Again, it's a 3-game losing streak. What are we doing? Like, people are legitimately freaking out. And like you were saying, people like, we want the streak to end. It ended in October. Who cares about the streak? And I'm like, I cared about the streak because it means they're winning. Like, I've said it over and over. It means they're limiting these. They don't let the bleeding continue. Like, wouldn't you want them to win? Like, yeah, the series sucked. So am I. It is over. I'm very glad to get those out of there. We're going to flush this. And again, it's like if you look at the Orioles schedule, they don't have time to throw a pity party. I guarantee you they're not on the plane being like, I can't believe the streak's over. We got swept. Now it's like, all right, let's get our asses into gear and let's go take 3 out of 4, because you know what? You sweep the White Sox, you win 3 out of 4, doesn't even matter. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to just go out and, again, baseball players know this better than anyone. Like, the next day, let's go. And when I checked the probables for tomorrow and saw it was Grayson, I did like this pump. I was like, that's what I want on the mound. That's what I need. Like, that. This is, I think it'd be like you said, hope maybe it turns the Cardinal season around. Maybe this does light a fire under the Orioles, and they get going. But yeah, like you said, the at bats were not great. They haven't been this series at all. Though it's a weird series too, just because of the weather delays. Like, you had the one 2 nights ago. What was it? I don't even know what today. Monday night, I guess it was. And then it was just a weird fluky series where you just don't really see stuff like that. And it sucks now. I'm reading about Means now, and that is the first I've been told of it. Like, it sounds like it does not sound good, especially for a guy his age. I think in a free agent year, with his injuries.
It is a free agent year for him. It is.
Yeah. So again, that we may have seen the last pitch John Means throws as an Oriole today. And it sucks to think about that, but that's a conversation for a different day. But again, they have to. We've seen their bats be awesome. We've seen them be terrible. Like, they will return. They will hit with guys in scoring position. They will, they're going to start drawing walks, all this stuff. Like, everything will be fine. They're a very, 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 very good baseball team. Just because they lost 3 in a row does not mean you have to jump off I can't say the bridge anymore. You're not going to jump off a tall building. Like, you can't. It's okay. Like, am I happy it happened? No. But people are just ready. They're ready for training camp now. And it's like, that's fine. Go pay attention to 90-man rosters and OTAs. But this is a very good baseball team. They're going to win about, what did I say they were? 29. They're going to win about 70 more games. And we're going to have a lot of fun this whole season. So it will be fine. They're going to hit again, I promise. And I will say this. I just saw, I've only seen what he did today with that getting the fly out. But I loved what I saw out of Kyle Stowers in the first game the other night. Like, him running to second on that ball that hit off the second baseman. That shows me he's like, look, Hyde, put me in the lineup. I'll do this. I'll sprint my ass off. So I like that. Know what the Mullins conversation really is. To me, that's a play that he's trying to tie the game on. And he probably thought that ball was dropping and should he have gone away? Probably, but whatever. He was aggressive and he got on, and it sucks the way it did. But because like you said in the group chat, that's just an incredible catch. So it sucks that's how it ended. But it's at least they didn't go down with their tail between their legs. Like, woe is us. I can't believe we're gonna get swept. They battled their asses off. So just a bunch of sucky things all rolled into one for a series. So
another one that we have not brought up here is this Little League inside the park home run that was just silly. It truly was. I feel for Cole Irvin, who has been put in a tough spot, was pitching so damn well for so long already this year. Gets bumped, guys come back from injury. He's in the bullpen. It's a freaking rainy day, header and a half, and then has to come in, hard contact, all those things. It's definitely frustrating for him. Definitely frustrating for Gunnar on the relay throw there, which was off. And again, McCann just not having the wherewithal to kind of just, what's the difference there? What's the difference of him getting to third? That play did not have to happen. And he was not in a set position. I don't think Ramon Urias was in a set position either. And it was the winning run. That was the winning run. The Cardinals score one more, but no, not really. The Orioles did score another run, whatever. But that allowed them to take the lead and put the Orioles in a bad position. And, hey, shout out to the Cardinals. They made some plays too, but the goof pickle by Mullins, the goof pickle by McCann, it's rain delay, back-to-back days. John Means gets hurt. It was just get the hell. I almost just dropped a hard get the hell out of St. Louis. The arch is actually just a big frowny face on my face. That's what the arch is. So get out of there. Kyle Gibson, stay away. Done with the Cardinals. I'm glad that the Orioles ended up playing and finishing and not having to deal with them again, because they were given a little bit of that Royals, that Rays devil magic and bad juju there. That's what it took. A Little League home run. That's what it took for the Orioles to break the streak there. So is that encouraging? Yes. I'll also say in my own world, I've kind of wanted the Orioles to struggle a little bit. I think that they have been getting away with just they kind of remind me of this young, weird version of, I remember Scott Van Pelt's comment, I think it was about maybe the 2013, 2014 Orioles. He's like, this is just a beer league softball team that comes and hits home runs on you. And it's like, yeah, but they had Chris Davis. They had Mark Trumbo. They had these veteran guys that were kind of bigger bodied sluggers. And it feels like the Orioles' ideology is to be aggressive like that, but they're not working the count enough. And they're too young to just consistently be able to do that. If you're going to be that aggressive, when pitchers are on, they're going to be able to get you to, swing and miss at stuff that's 50-50 pitches on the outer part of the rubber and all those kinds of things. So the Orioles have been mega aggressive. Their OBP is down. Their walks are down. They're not getting on base enough. And that's another frustrating aspect of this game was that they did have a little inning where they were able to get a couple RBIs. Gunnar slaps one through. They're able to get a couple base hits. It was like, okay, they're generating some normal offense going with pitches instead of, always having to annihilate everything. So I was wishing from last year where the Orioles just freaking cruised. And why do some fans love the streak so much? Because that was the best year for a young Orioles fan, for someone who's like, that was the best year the Orioles have had in their eyes, in their adult eyes. If you're younger 20s, I get it. You associate that streak with the most fun year you've seen the Orioles have, especially of this next generation. That's a big part of it. But it is a new year. The Orioles have found some struggles at the plate. Their pitching staff has kept them afloat for the most part. And it just feels like they're just, again, still not playing complimentary baseball and not able to drop the bat and kind of hit the ball through the infield enough. But they kind of did it in this game. It was just a weird one. So all those things flared up, and it is what it is. The sky is falling. The streak itself will make people overreact if the streak wasn't a thing. And in some people's eyes, because of the Rangers, it's not. I don't feel that way. But if the streak wasn't a thing, then it's like, the Orioles played like crap. Screw them, whatever. But the streak is going to hyperize people and make their emotions a little bit more default. But we can say the Baltimore Orioles, your Baltimore Orioles, had the longest streak without being swept since the war, since the Great War. So that you can take to the banks, and it was legendary to watch. I loved it. I loved the streak. It was really fun as a fan, and it's over. It's sad. They did still have quite some ways to go to break the actual all-time record, but hey,
yeah,
I mean,
long time.
There's some yellow flags up. Brandon Hyde been catching a lot of flack. One thing I did think was funny today in the opening end of the game from last night, they bring in Jacob Webb, and then they immediately bring in Keegan Aiken. Keegan Aiken lets up a home run. That ends up losing that game. And I was of the same thought. It was like, why the hell are you using Keegan Aiken? Why are you using Jacob Webb? Why didn't you just let Cole Irvin go do this? Well, maybe because Hyde knew that there was going to be more issues with weather later, and John Means isn't feeling great. We can talk more about that, but he needed Cole Irvin for the second game. And again, Cole Irvin did get pelted on that double Little League home run there, which kind of ends up being, I will say, the deciding factor. But so much to talk about, so much to break down, so many things. And again, that's how much it took for the Cardinals to sweep the Orioles. I do think that speaks volumes.
Like you said, this is exactly. Sometimes you just don't play that well, and that seems like what happened this year. The Orioles have gotten away with it for 105 series, like where they were able to gut one out, or they were. Look at last week. We're saying the same thing. Man, you know what? It sucks that that streak is getting right here. Up they're down in the ninth, and Adley's up, and up he hits the walk off. All right, well, it's sometimes it just doesn't.
They've been teetering on getting swept a couple times this season.
Oh, yeah.
It's been right there, and they've been able to escape by the hair of their chinny chin chin.
I was telling people at our presenting sponsor, Jimmy Seafood, shout out to them. Wonderful time today at the golf tournament. But I was talking to some of the guys there, and I was like, today has me worried. It's just a weird, funky day, and strange stuff happens. And like, lo and behold, I'm checking my phone. I see a Little League home run. I'm seeing an incredible catch. And like you said, that's what it took to sweep them. That's okay, whatever. Again, I'm not one of these people who is flipping out and saying this has to happen. And again, the people who were like, I can't believe they're sitting on their hands and they're not going to make a trade. And it's like, what are you talking? Teams are not trading right now. Like it takes two to tango. This isn't the show. You don't hit a button and teams just make trades. Like somebody goes, I hope Mike Elias is scouting right now. They are. They're scouts at every game. Like they're going to make trades. It's basically like it's not going to happen now because, like you said, the added wild card really, really kind of waters down the trade deadline because everyone has a chance now. The Cardinals have a chance in their division. Like teams have chances, so they're going to hold on to their guys a little longer. But like these trades are going to happen. Guys are like, if this is the roster in October, newsflash, it won't be. It's not going to be. So again, this law, like you said, sad. It sucks. Whatever. It's over. Now you ride your top four horses right into Chicago. A bad Chicago team is getting their teeth knocked in right now by Toronto. and you're going, guess what? You're getting Grayson, you're getting Corbin back-to-back nights, and you're getting Dean Kramer, and then Kyle Bradish is going to finish it off. So, what do you think about that? But going forward with pitching, the last week we've been talking about, 6-man rotation, what are they going to do? Now we have an answer, and the pitching depth, it was always a good thing. Now we know the answer with it. It sounds like John Means may be out, a decent amount of time. So Cole Irvin, welcome back. And, now another bullpen spot open. So they got to figure out what to do with that. But again, this stuff always kind of seems to find a way to work itself out. Again, it just kind of sucks that it came at, at this price but that's what happens. They didn't win a game series for the first time in a long, long time. So literally nothing you can do about it now. You don't cry about it. The White Sox are kind of the perfect team to kind of right that ship against. And again, you just have to hope that they can win 3 out of 4. This is a series that they absolutely should win 3 out of 4 with who's going. So we'll see how they go. But I said it earlier. I can guarantee you they're not feeling sorry for themselves and dragging their tails. They're not walking through a hair like with their legs in between their tails, being like, oh, here we are. I can't believe that happened.
And by now they don't even care. We're talking about it, longer than they are. They're getting in their hotel and going on with their lives.
Sack up time.
9 to 5 for them. 12:25 p.m. today in our podcast text group, I texted sick, think in response to the home run in the first game. Then I said, forgot I also had $50 on this game because I put that on the game last night, which continued the bet over today. Lost that. You're welcome, FanDuel, for the donation. Texted from my phone as opposed to my laptop. So I'm literally going back and forth with myself here, as I tend to do. Said F word my life. Then I said Mateo so sick at second base at 12:39 p.m. And then I will say at 12:47, this is partially my fault. I said the streak ends today, I guess. You could just feel it in the water. You could just feel it with the way the game was going, the weather, all of those kinds of things. So ends up happening there. But what I will say, we had a great comment here from Zeej. I guess we can do dogs of the series here. And I'm going to go number 1, Kyle Stowers, who has been looking awesome in his approach to the plate, looks calm in the field. And again, I don't know how Lars Nootbaar caught that ball, but Stowers ends up having a couple clutch hits there. Looked like a real bright spot. And with Tony being banged up there a little bit in right field, guys moving around a little bit, definitely Stowers has already quickly earned himself more at bats. Would expect to see more of those against the White Sox. He's the lefty bet. And again, I feel like they get rid of McKenna. McKenna is playing for the Giants today, which is funny. And then you see Stowers in that role, and you feel like that's an upgrade, especially at the plate. And it is a lefty instead of a righty, so it's a little different. But Stowers being that bench guy, it looks like he's got a lot more juice and looks a lot better this time around than he did last time. So it was really cool there. That's why it stunk too, because when he came in, Hyde was pushing those buttons. He goes back-to-back pinch hitters and effectively pulled the exact right buttons. Mullins sneaks one through the infield, which I've been begging him to do. Just pound the ball into the dirt as hard as you can, flatten your bat, and run down the first baseline and see what happens. Lo and behold, gets a hit there and then brings in Stowers. That ball should have been gone. I don't understand the physics of that. Stowers has a big bat. We know he does. He has a monster slugging. He's showed it a few times in Baltimore and many times in Norfolk. That pitch was exactly where a lefty wants to pull the ball. He dipped down on it. You could see him kind of coil and unload through it, and he swung dead through it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm throwing my bat at it a little bit. He unloaded on that. I don't understand how that ball didn't go out. So that was nuts. Yeah. But I'm going to go dog of the series, Kyle Stowers for 1 there.
I like that. Again, I talked about the play in the first game where he went, he basically got a double off a ball that he smoked. Again, I didn't see any of the game today. I obviously saw it Monday, but I guess there were a bunch of errors made today. Like Wynn had another one, and I heard Gunnar had a that was, and Kevin Brown.
Arenado had some weird plays too that went off his glove, or he just couldn't make a play on the ball that he should have too.
That's weird too. Then if Nolan's not making a play, then there is something up, because I think my dad said that Kevin Brown made some comment about what's going on with the infield today. Like it's both teams or whatever. Again, it's kind of slim pickings. I'll take Gunnar, I guess, as my dog. I mean,
he made some crazy
plays the other night. Yeah, yes, and the Monday game was a Gunnar showcase, and it sucks they lost that game. But I thought that was like a Gunnar, like I'm a man, I'm 40, like I'm gonna make these plays, I'm gonna hit this home run to break up your no hitter, and you guys can go shove from there. But again, I mean, Adley had a couple hits, but it just nobody else could. except for Stowers, could really kind of get going. So again, it's good to see Mullins. He had the good on Sunday versus Seattle, and then he puts together a hit today and in his limited role. But it's just this is slim pickings for this series, and that's what happens when you get swept. There's not much to choose from, but hopefully kind of a wake up call, or just kind of gets them going. So.
We have a question here we'll get to in a minute about how the Orioles maybe can get things going. But I'm going to go Kyle Bradish, third dog of the series here. Stuff looked great. The fastball, he was locating really well, and he was getting a lot of whiffs with the off-speed and the breaking ball stuff there. His 6 strikeouts, goes 5 innings. Probably could have gone more last night, but then afterwards said that he felt like he had everything cooking too, which you love to hear. It looked like it to my untrained eye, but they know more than they'll forget more than I ever know, as we always like to say. But I thought those guys were awesome. Gunnar definitely did show up. Zeech here in the comments. There was a ball today that was dead almost over. I think it bounced off the mound. Probably, I don't know if I had to guess exit velo, probably like 85. Like it was not like a little dinker. And him and Mateo are interchanging over top of it, trying to go get it. And Gunnar was lined up in like a true shortstop positioning. I have no idea how he got to the ball. Turned, and he kind of was like a figure skater doing a pirouette. You can kind of see him like tracking around as he spins with his eyes fixating, and then just fucking gunned one to Ryan O'Hearn, which was sick. So always fun. And again, like you said, broke up that no-hitter. Mike France here. How would you shake up the lineup to get things going again? I feel like they have to move Tony Taters down in the lineup and maybe move Westy to everyday leadoff. I am very sick of seeing Gunnar up with 2 outs after the bottom of the lineup turns over, like the 8-9, go 1-2, or something happens. And it's like, I really, really, really am sick of that. That does keep happening. Do I understand getting him as many at-bats as possible? Yeah, I get that part of it too. But if you're looking to shake things up, it's all right. You can move him back there again later. It's not the end of the world. Like, I don't know. Maybe it'll give him a little more time to breathe. I would love to see him hitting at the 3, hitting at the 4. Westy probably will lead off against lefties, and I don't know how many lefties they're about to see. I feel like it's not that many over the next like 2-3 series. But those things both, I don't know. Tony Taters to me has looked a little more patient. He had a fly ball late in this one that he probably had a chance to rip, but it just feels like you want to see the Orioles just try and pound balls into the dirt a little bit more early in games and make the defense, make the pitcher be a little bit more patient in their approach, and also record outs, like the pop-ups, the fly balls, the pop-ups to second base over and over for the lefties. It just feels like they're so aggressive and that they are really trying to focus on barreling up right now. We know they can do it. It will come back. The power's not going to go anywhere, but I would just like to see a little bit more of a hit the dirt and run approach when you've got like 7 guys that have solidly above average speed, if not more, especially when they're lefties that have a little bit shorter path to the first base too. So I think they have started to do that a little bit more. I'm no expert in terms of baseball mechanics and things of that nature. It, like you said, Eric, they play every day. Things turn around, cold streaks, hot streaks, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, Adley was on fire. He's not quite, killing it this series. Gunnar looked amazing the other night. Westberg's been cold. Kowser's been kind of battling his way back. We've been really impressed with Jorge Mateo's at bats and in the field, who's really established himself at second. He had an unbelievable spinning play today as well. But I don't know, man. It just feels like it's so seldom. The thing that's been driving me nuts is when they get leadoff hits and just don't manufacture.
Yeah.
They're just not manufacturing any runs, and especially early in games. You just like to see them be more patient, choke up a little, foul off some more pitches, and try and move guys over and put pressure on the pitcher a little bit more early in games. Again, it's tough. I mean, they just played against the Mariners, who are a better team than most of the teams they've kind of struggled with offensively. They have probably the best staff in baseball, and they embarrassed them and crushed them and knocked guys out. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's that's why baseball is such a fun game, because anything can happen any given day. Lars Nootbaar could have been lined up. If they were playing the Rays, maybe he's lined up 3 feet to the right instead, and then he can't get to that ball, or someone else is there and Kyle Stowers, hits a game tying freaking double to send pandemonium back through Orioles, Twitter, and back through Baltimore from St. Louis. So it's the nature of the beast, but shaking things up. Yeah. Move Gunnar down a little bit, get somebody patient at the top there. And Gunnar has been walking more himself, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I'm thinking of, you're talking about early in games doing damage, driving the pitch count up. That game Friday night, I mean, against the Mariners, that was perfect. That first inning where they just came out and, I think they had like 5 runs on 30 pitches or something like that. So they didn't, I mean, they drove it up a little bit, but they were doing damage when they, with hits, and that's what they need to get back to. And, I like Westberg up top. I tweeted about it last week, and then it happened, and then he hit the home run. But I mean, again, Gunnar has to, and again, it sucks because if Gunnar isn't, batting leadoff, then he doesn't hit that home run Saturday night against the Mariners in the ninth to, make it 4-3. And, there's it's the butterfly effect. But yeah, you've got to start getting some production again early, especially early in the games. Like if you can jump on them, especially with this lineup and the way that they've been pitching, if you get 3 or 4 runs, well, knock on wood, we saw that today. You're up 3-0 or something like that. You're like, all right, we're kind of feeling good about this. Obviously, again, a weird game with the weather and everything, but I'm with you. It's frustrating to watch how the offense just isn't producing right now, but it will come around again, as always. And Mateo, we should have said him for one of the dogs of the week. I think he definitely had, a great series from what I saw, but the big one was the at bat we were texting about Monday night was when he tied up the game and, didn't hand them loss that night. People forget that, but that at bat was incredible battle. And splitting the gap. We haven't seen a lot of split the gaps since Friday when Westberg was doing it, but they need to get back to that. And they will. And it sucks, but it's tough to watch this week. And again, hopefully in Chicago, where I would assume that it should be a pretty pro Orioles crowd. I know a good amount of people are going out there, so maybe we also may see some guys on the yak or doing some stuff this week at the Barstool Chicago office, because I know they're going in Friday. So, oh well. Again, it sucks, but we're on a Chicago.
On Chicago, like you just said, Eric, that they'll be hitting the yak there and maybe seeing the Orioles do some fun challenges there in the Barstool HQ. So that should be a ton of fun. Sterling, Rapicelli here. I feel like the strategy against the Mariners was to attack early and often. They saw success and carried that over, and it didn't work this time. Yeah, they definitely were aggressive. They definitely do want to be aggressive. And with young, part of the balance of this is having a lot of young guys in the lineup too, and wanting to be aggressive in that capacity, and some inexperienced guys there. I don't know. It's just very frustrating. Hayes has had some good at-bats. Mullins looks like he's starting to come around a little bit. Like those two guys both get hits in this. Just Stowers, looking okay. Like I said, Tony Taters has been lost at points in this season and is starting to draw more pitches, see longer at bats, and make good contact, those kinds of things. The power hasn't quite been there. Mountcastle has been ice cold. Westberg has been ice cold. Kowser's kind of fought back a little bit, but you can tell is still not as confident in his approach. I think he's hitting like 80 against changeups and then hitting over 300 against breaking balls and fastballs. So he's just getting fed changeups until he can hit them. He talked about that. We interviewed him. Or you guys interviewed him, but ultimately just a weird point in time. And I tweeted it earlier today, 3 runs doesn't win you games. They've only scored 4 more runs 8 times in 17 games now. And one of them was them scoring 4 today and, of course, letting up 5. So it just feels like they have not been able to string together a run and knock guys out of games early, aside from that Mariners series, like they're capable of doing. We just know that they're capable of doing it. They have a talented lineup with balanced hitters. And again, the aggressiveness is a huge part of, I feel like, growing pains. And hopefully there is a master plan of why they want to be so aggressive now, and that it has a greater plan of development as the season goes on with some of these younger guys. Because right now it does really feel like teams know they're being aggressive. So they're trying to paint the corners, stay away. They're not giving them, anything belt high or trying to blow balls by them or anything like that. And the Orioles are just whiffing at stuff. So a lot of weak contact, a lot of pop-ups. And, even today, I think they were like 3 for 10 on balls hit 95 miles an hour or harder. I think that Kevin Brown said 2 for 8 going into the 9th or something like that. And they get a hold of a couple there. So I don't know. Road stretch come off of a long homestand. And I think the Orioles play, 31 games in 32 days, something like that. Something to that effect. Might have sit there. So long stretch coming up. Appreciate our sponsors.
Yeah.
Appreciate Jimmy Seafood. Eric, I know you got to get out there and go to the Jimmy Minidakis 50th anniversary Memorial Golf Tournament. Looked like it was a lot of fun. Adam Jones, Torrey Smith, all those guys out there.
Adam and Torrey made me golf the last 4 holes with them. Like, not against my will, but it didn't take much convincing from me. But Adam had good things to say about the Orioles. We'll say that.
Love to hear that. So all is maybe not well today, but this team won 100 games last year.
I don't know what's going on. My internet is.
We'll wrap this one up. Not too much more to talk about here. White Sox, Orioles head to Chicago there, and it's been a frustrating stretch for the Orioles in May in terms of offensive baseball, but hopefully they can turn around against the White Sox. Thank you so much for tuning in to this one. We would love to have you like and subscribe on YouTube. That's the easiest way you can support us. We do these series recaps after every single Orioles series, having a lot of fun doing them. I know Eric's connection is a little spotty right now, so I'll just get us out of here, but appreciate all of our sponsors, Black Eyed Susan Spices. You can find them with the Red Flag Spice on Hot Ones debuting throughout this season. So that'll be the 7 spot there. If you like Hot Ones, they'll be the one right before the absolute atom bomb that comes on at the end. You can see some celebrities sweating with Black Eyed Susan Spices based out of Frederick, Maryland. We appreciate Fed Thrill for everything they do. Go check out their Sunnies. Promo code EXIT52 for both of those. Of course, Jimmy's Famous Seafood and our other sponsor, Clipper City Barber Company, located at 1716 Tame Street. Like the Baltimore Clipper sales ship that was smooth, cool, and quick. You can go get a smooth, cool, quick cut and have all of your men's grooming needs taken care of at Clipper City in Fells Point, right across from the Pendry there. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys soon. Appreciate you. Go follow the show, all that good stuff. I don't know. You guys see all this stuff. Follow me, follow Eric, this, that, the other. Bing, bam, boom. Jake does it every time. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you so much.